But what I want us to look at is this data. For those who were voting for the other candidates, those who were voting for Jenana, Ato Forson, and Julius Deborah, how do they vote, or who do they vote for if their candidates is not in the race? If you look at those who are saying Asiedu Nketia, or who said Jenana, 41% of Jenana's delegates go to Asiedu Nketia, 41%. And 29% go to Haruna Iddrisu. But 30% said they are undecided. So, depending upon where this 30% go, they could take the race a bit. But you can see that even among those who say they support Ato Forson, it's divided into three. 33% said they will vote for Asiedu Nketia. 34% said they will vote for Haruna Iddrisu. Another 30% said they are undecided. And for those who are voting for Julius Deborah, 41 voting for Asiedu Nketia, 28 voting for Haruna Iddrisu, and 31 voting for saying they are undecided. So you can see that majority of the people voting for Jane and Julius are voting for Asiedu Nketia, except those who are voting for Ato Forson, who are divided equally in the middle. They are sharing the vote equally between Haruna Iddrisu and Asiedu Nketia. So you could see that Asiedu Nketia is getting majority of Jenana voters, majority of Haruna voters, and almost a third of Ato voters. That's why he's able to lead Haruna Iddrisu 42 to 22. And it's very unlikely this can turn significantly from what we know in the data. Now, let's come to the next race. I just want to show you the impact of some of these alliances. Now, if it is Julius Deborah and Asiedu Nketia, Asiedu Nketia is on 43%. Deborah is 18%. So Deborah is doing about 4% less than Haruna Iddrisu against Asiedu Nketia. I'm getting some warning on restrictions, but let's see. I hope they don't just disconnect me off. So clearly, Haruna Iddrisu is in a much stronger position than Julius Deborah against Asiedu Nketia. Again, if we go to the data to see how people who were voting for the other candidates are behaving now, you can see that about 21% of Jenana supporters will vote for Julius Deborah, about 42% vote for Asiedu Nketia. In the case of Ato Forson, 31 will vote for Deborah, but 35 vote for Asiedu Nketia, much more than in the Haruna Iddrisu's case. And then Haruna Iddrisu's people, if it's not in the race, 22% will vote for Julius Deborah, but 43 will vote for Asiedu Nketia. So you can see the dynamics here. Haruna people supporting Asiedu Nketia, 43%. Now let's look at the next race that we have data on. If you say that, okay, we are putting Ato Forson against Asiedu Nketia, which is the race I think we should be expecting, in my view, from what I've known from the data, I've seen the data. Then suddenly, Asiedu Nketia is not doing even 40%. He's doing 37%. Ato Forson is doing 32%. And 31% said they are undecided. So in the case of Ato Forson and Asiedu Nketia, the undecided hold the key, because Asiedu Nketia only leads Ato Forson by 5%, only 5%. And remember, the margin of error is about 3%. So the lead that he has over Ato Forson is not huge outside the margin of error. It means that we are seeing potentially what could be the race. Because against Haruna Idrisu, Asiedu Nketia is leading by almost 20%. And against Julius Debra, Asiedu is leading by almost 23%. That is what probably should scare Asiedu Nketia's team if Ato Forson decides to run. We don't know whether he's running. We haven't heard anything from him, and that's what makes it even dangerous. Because look, Julius Debra, we know he intends to run by his activity. For Haruna, we haven't seen anything from him saying he's going to run. People are just pushing. And similar to Ato Forson, he hasn't said anything, people are just urging them to run. So somebody, but Asiedu Nketia, we know he's running. By his thank you talk, we know he's running. So people who have not declared any intention, if they are looking very competitive in this race at this stage, it must be worrying for Asiedu Nketia, because he is the most popular person in the race. Everybody know him. So if with that popularity he is not hitting 50%, it tells you that no one person can win with that coalition. Now let's look at how the other candidates, delegates are voting when this Asiedu Nketia versus Ato Forson. 36% of Jenana's delegates are voting for Asiedu Nketia, but 38% has a majority of Jenana supporters. But 27% say they are undecided. Assuming they decide in the same way, it means Ato Forson will win most of Jenana's delegates. When you come to Haruna, 29% of Haruna's people are voting for Asiedu Nketia, but 48% are voting for Haruna Idrisu. It means that Ato Forson will win majority of Haruna Idrisu supporters. When we come to Julius Debra, 25% of his people are voting for Asiedu Nketia, but 58% are voting for Ato Forson. So you can see that Ato Forson is the only one who wins the support of all the other candidates, all the delegates of all the other candidates. That's why it's very close, 37-32 from the delegates, which means that those who are undecided will play a key role if this is the race we're going to have. And what does this data mean to any of the campaign? And that is what people should be very, very careful with their utterances. Make peace, make friends. Don't court enmity to yourself or to your campaign. Don't speak in a way others will feel bad about your campaign. And this is very, very important we take note of. Now, let's look at the differences between the views of various demography. I mean, some people say that they are confused with our polls. Don't be confused. When the polls are published, we give you exactly who we spoke to. So it is important to understand who we spoke to, because who we spoke to give you different results. So in this table, we are showing you the race between Asiedu Nketia and Haruna Idrisu. When we interview Ghanaian voters in March, we call that general voters. General voters. Them, they don't vote. They show their preferences. Among the general voters, when we ask them who would you prefer to lead NDC, Asiedu Nketia got 35%. Haruna Idrisu got 35%. But 30% said they didn't have any opinion. So Asiedu Nketia and Haruna Idrisu are square among all voters. It means that nobody has advantage at the time we spoke to them in March. Then among those we spoke to, we looked at those who said they are NDC supporters. What is their view? Among the NDC supporters, Asiedu Nketia has 39%. Haruna Idrisu has 43%. 18% said they are undecided or they don't have an opinion. which means that among NDC supporters, Haruna is leading by 4%. Haruna is leading by 4%. However, among the delegate, we have shown you that the delegate who are supposed to elect the candidate, Haruna Idrisu is behind Asiedu Nketia by 20%, 42-22. So look at the demography, not the demography, look at the what we call the sample frame. Among the general voters, what the sample frame, or the sample, is 35-35. Among NDC supporters, it is 39 to Asiedu Nketia and 43 to Haruna Idrisu. Among the delegate, it is Ato Forson, Asiedu Nketia 42%, Haruna 22%. Now let's look at the race involving Asiedu Nketia and Haruna Idrisu. Now, if you say Haruna Idrisu, Ato Forson and Asiedu Nketia, excuse me, the data according to March shows that among all voters, Ghanaian voters, 28% prefer Asiedu Nketia to lead NDC, but 42% prefer Ato Forson to lead NDC, and 30% said they are undecided or have no opinion. So Ato Forson leads Asiedu Nketia by 14 points among all voters. Now, when you come to the NDC voters, Ato Forson leads with 52%, those who said we are NDC. If you put Ato Forson against Asiedu Nketia, 52% of NDC supporters say they prefer Ato Forson. 31% prefer Asiedu Nketia, and 17% said they are undecided or no opinion. So that is NDC voters. But when you come to the delegates, Asiedu Nketia has 37%, Ato Forson 32%, 36% said they are undecided, which means that, let me go back, among the NDC supporters, Ato Forson lead Asiedu Nketia by 21%. But among the delegate, Asiedu Nketia leads Ato Forson by 5%. So that is the reality on the ground. Now, let's also look at Ato Forson versus Haruna Idrisu. If it's Ato Forson and Haruna Idrisu going head to head, 29% of all voters say Haruna Idrisu, 40% say Ato Forson, and 31% say they are undecided. When you come to NDC voters, you can see that Haruna Idrisu is doing 35%. Ato Forson is doing 47%, which is less than the 51 he had against Asiedu Nketia. Why are we seeing differences? We are seeing this difference because there are a lot more younger voters in the country. People around 44 years and below are about 80% of the voting population. So Haruna Idrisu and Ato Forson, being younger people, tend to attract more younger people. So the vote of younger people here is splitting between Haruna Idrisu and Ato Forson. But in the race against Asiedu Nketia, young people are voting a lot more for Ato Forson than against Asiedu Nketia. And when you come to the NDC delegates, Haruna Idrisu is 19%, Ato Forson is 42%, and those who are undecided is 36%. So this is the true story on the ground, not propaganda, not noise. Those who have interest must know the data and understand the data. And before I leave in the next 4 minutes, I would like to take you back to the delegate, what they said to us that matter. They said what would matter to them. in deciding who should lead NDC. Anybody who ignores this data is doing so at his own peril. The delegates are saying that by 74%, that what is important to them is performance, how those individuals may have performed now or in the past, in whatever role they've been given in the past. Did you perform in the role you played or you were given? 74%. So if you are contesting and you are a current minister, you must focus on performance on your job rather than focusing in becoming a flag bearer, because you will lose time to focus. You can't deliver what is being assigned to you, and that will rather cost you. The second point they said is important to them is that they want to see that person having a vision that they can believe in, a vision they can subscribe, a vision they believe will take Ghana forward. So if you are an aspirant, you have to articulate your vision. You have to articulate your vision clearly and unambiguously, and make sure that the vision resonates well with the delegate, and indeed across the country when the time comes. So before they say Jack, be preparing yourself and your vision that you will sell to the nation. They also said by 35% that the person should be a good servant of the government. Look, a good servant of the government. A good servant of the government means somebody who has played his part in achieving what the government would have achieved. A good team player in the government. If you are seen to be disruptive, not helping out, you will be punished. The next factor, or they mentioned, was other factors, which was about 23%. But those other factors are not specific. Those who may have other personal reasons and other reasons that are not given will choose other factors. But fourth on the list in terms of specific items is personality. Personality. Who do they believe has the right personality to lead the country? And then they made mention of serve the party. The person should have served the party, seem to have served the party. And if you don't seem to have served the party, some delegates will not reward you. So if you've been MP for several years, you've done grassroots work, you've served the party at the local level, you're also serving the party. But on this count, I think one person that has advantage here is really Asiedu Nketia. Then you have youth. They said they look at the age of the person they're bringing is a youth. Somebody said he has not seen our poll online. Go online and look for Global Info Analytics polls. Global Info Analytics polls. We are there. So these are the factors. So if you are an aspirant and you ignore what these guys are telling us, then you'll be doing something completely not aligned with what they are expecting to see. You will be in trouble. You will not catch their eye. So you should focus on some of these factors and make sure that you deliver as a minister or as a board chairman or as whatever it is, so that you will catch the eye of the delegates. Winning election is now science, not booga booga. Those who have used booga booga will not end well for them. You have to be scientific. I would like to bring this live to an end, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have any question, just drop me a line. I would answer you. On this platform, it is polls. We are the only process in Ghana here that do this level of details regularly. We serve the good people of Ghana. We don't serve the politicians. It's not our focus, or they're not our focus. Our focus is the ordinary people who follow polls and data, and also international clients who want to know what is happening in the country as far as elections are concerned with this poll. This is not what we do entirely. We also serious market research companies, a company in Ghana here. We do a sort of research for global clients. And among our people, the people who use our data, Goldman Sachs, those who live in the UK and US know Goldman Sachs. Barclays Capital use our data. Fitch Solutions, based in the UK, use our data. And so many organizations, including the IMF and the World Bank, they rely on our data to understand what is going on. We're not kidding, we're not joking here. For those who like to insult us, we are quite happy to receive the insult. But we've almost all the time been proven right with our data. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll meet you again sometime in the future on this app. My name is Musa Dankwa, lead pollster and executive director at Global Info Analytics, based in Accra, in Ghana. Have a good day.